Hello friends, welcome into our weekly update for this week ending March the 13th, Friday, March the 13th. No significance whatsoever there. For those of you watching for the first time in a long time, let me reintroduce to you our fearless leader, John Rustin, back at the table for a weekly update. John, great to have you back here in the office.
Well, it's great to be back in the office, Mitch, and Jerry, and our other staff, and our friends. Thank you. The board and the staff of NC Family graciously afforded me a sabbatical for the past 8 weeks, which I'm extremely grateful for. And as you all know, operations continued here without pause in wonderful fashion. But this was just a time after 12 years at the helm of this organization that the board and staff afforded me to rest, recharge, kind of recalibrate, and was able to do lots of things, read lots of books, listen to lots of scripture, which was wonderful, do some overseas travel with my wife, which was great, and I'm just excited to get back into things here, but with a bit of a different perspective and a little bit better rested than before.
Well, a much-earned, much-deserved sabbatical.
Well, thank you.
And grateful for your leadership and our team doing an excellent job, as you said, during your absence. Jerry, primary elections were last week, and a lot has gone on since then, specifically in the District 26, the Senate District 26 race for Senate, and the Phil Berger and Sam Page race. That race is still too close to call. I believe that Sam Page, Sheriff Page of Rockingham County, leads by about 23 votes or so over Senate Pro Tem Phil Berger. That is within 1%. As you listened to the video last week, that's within the state threshold of demanding a recount, where the one person can demand a recount. So we'll let you know about that. Most of the other races are outside of that 1%. All of the GA races are outside of that 1%. Canvassing or certification for those will happen at the time of watch on Friday the 13th. So that's happening today as you watch this video. The NCGA was in as well this week. You were down at the building every day that they were in. Tell us what happened this week at the General Assembly.
Well, this was the week that they set aside a week each month to allow the General Assembly to come back and potentially bring up votes on issues. What they have done each of the months, in the last number of months now, is to come together and have committee meetings, but they have not met. The House and the Senate, neither one, have met in session to vote on issues. So we're expecting that to be the case again maybe in April, the first week of the month.
Yes, sir.
But then they are scheduled to come back later in the month for the beginning of the short session.
Yes, sir.
And just for clarification, the committee meetings that are meeting now are really like oversight committees that typically meet in the interim between legislative sessions.
Right.
So these are not like standing legislative committees that can take up bills and vote on them. They can review and propose packages or individual bills to the General Assembly for consideration. But then those bills are filed during the short session upcoming and are considered just like any other bill that's being introduced in the General Assembly. So a lot of what's taking place now is reviewing reports that are being made by agencies, by divisions and departments of state government to the General Assembly, and other matters that the General Assembly has deemed important enough to consider during the interim period of time.
Exactly. And I know, as you mentioned, John, like this week, Health and Human Services, Medicaid were two of the areas they talked a lot about, specifically the area of autism. And we've mentioned this before. Hopefully, as you're saying, John, what is happening now as they come back to hopefully finalize a budget, this will be additional input that will help them make the best possible decisions about what areas need additional revenue and questions like that.
And as our government, the size of government and governmental operations in the state continue to grow, it's important that they have continual oversight and are able to make budget adjustments to fill needs as they deem appropriate. And so there's a lot of that consideration going on at this time.
Absolutely. Jerry, you were exactly correct. April the 6th is when they're scheduled to meet for the final time before the short session, which will start on Tuesday, April the 21st. A great article put out by our team this week in regard to the EPPC report that came out on March the 10th in regard to the proliferation of mifepristone after the FDA's ruling that an in-doctor visit was not necessary for a woman to be prescribed the mifepristone battery of drugs in order to receive a chemical abortion. Jerry, you've spent a lot of time researching this, looking into it. What do we need to know about the EPPC report and what the FDA has decided in regard to North Carolina?
Okay. And I think it'll be helpful as a follow-up. A while back, this is a second report
Yes.
that Ethics and Public Policy Center has come out with. Their first one, which is incredible how thorough it was, it covered 2017 to 2023, over 865,000 abortions. They looked at the important question about serious adverse events. And prior to their report, the information that was put out about the abortion pill indicated like 0.5% where there were adverse outcomes. And this, what happened in their first report, they said, no, it's over 10%, which is 22 times what people were relying on to see is what happens when I take or use this medication. Well, now they've done a follow-up because one of the most recent changes, as the FDA has taken away precautionary measures for people,
Yes.
they removed the in-person requirement, which everybody would know with medication, especially now knowing that over 10% you have adverse potential outcomes,
Yes.
that you need a physician to be involved. And sadly, what we're seeing is over almost 2/3 of abortions are happening through abortion pills, a lot of it through mail order, no physician involved.
Right.
And taking place at home.
Yes.
At home.
In a bathroom.
And some
In
of
the home.
and some of the moderate side effects are scary, let alone the most harmful of these side effects, which ultimately is fatality. These are very concerning things.
All right. And that's what, to get it, the specifics of this more recent follow-up, they looked at what has happened after the in-person requirement was taken away in 2023. And what they found, the serious adverse events went up from over 10% to 11.5%. And people go, when you're talking about thousands and thousands of people, those numbers are incredibly troubling. Along with that, they looked at where there were prescriptions made or where medication was taken, where there was an ectopic pregnancy.
Yes.
The rate of that, doing away with the doctor, the in-person visit, went up 52%. It went from 0.27% to 0.41%. Again, we're talking about, and as you mentioned, those are life and death cases.
Absolutely.
Sometimes, where if a woman unknowingly has an ectopic pregnancy, mail order pill comes, they take this, it can lead to not only the death of the child, but the death of the mother.
To your point, in home with no life-saving measures at hand,
Yeah.
which is extremely concerning.
All right. And what's interesting, North Carolina, thankfully, we had it put in place years ago, a law requiring the in-person visits,
Right.
the doctor to be involved, the doctor to be present in the room with the administration of the pill. Well, sadly, after the FDA changed, there was a federal court ruling regarding the North Carolina law that said what the FDA has done and Congress has preempted our North Carolina law. All that to say, we are at a critical point. We already knew this, but these additional facts are showing us something needs to be done quickly. Thankfully, this week in Congress, U.S. Senator Josh Hawley is proposing legislation. It's called the Safeguarding Women from Chemical Abortion Act. Part of his quote in the presentation in Congress in a judiciary hearing room, it is inherently dangerous and it's up to Congress to regulate it. All these facts are showing us the danger, and something that's happening with is almost 2/3 of abortions, just pills being mailed out. Interstate commerce into states that have passed laws
Scary.
saying no abortion, no pills in our state, people are still ordering. something needs to be done, and quickly. And thankfully, God has raised up people like Senator Hawley, and hopefully others will come alongside him to take action.
Absolutely. Well, there's a lot more there you can read in that article that's at the bottom of this video and the link provided, and a lot more to be said about what's happening here in the state of North Carolina on behalf of our team to ensure that our state truly is a state where God is honored, religious freedom flourishes, families thrive, and life is cherished. Yes, sir, and we're glad to have you back. Thankful
to be
that
back.
you're here, and looking forward to great days ahead here at NC Family. Thank you for watching this weekly update video. For all of the content that we put out here at NC Family, you guessed it, you can go to our website at ncfamily.org to find out all of that information. Thank you for watching. We hope you have a great weekend, and God bless you.